countdown. That's what I'm telling him now. So if you're wondering why I'm on now, yeah, I'm not normally on Tuesday nights. This is I'm impressed with myself. I actually remembered to get online. To be honest, actually remembered to. What can I do now? Actually remembered to get on the show. Oh, right. Okay, sorry. Right. So. If oh yeah, there won't be any music on this stream. Rob's about 10 seconds over. Right, so there won't be any music on the stream. The music will all be on offthechartradio.co.uk because that's where the actual radio show is. And so if you head over to there now, you will catch the end of Rob Wong's show and you will be in time for mine. Although hopefully you're already there listening to Rob Wong's show. Why weren't you there listening to Rob Wong's show? But if you've missed any shows, mixcloud.com/offthechartradio as well. Hello to Ross, who's just liked the stream. And yeah, I'm broadcasting everywhere. YouTube, Facebook Live, Periscope and Twitch. It's a bit of an experiment. I don't know why it's... frame rate's a bit slow, but never mind. Probably because I've got two windows open. Oh, that's why. Might help if I closed all of the extra programs that don't really need to be opened in my radio show. The advantage I've got is that I've got two computers on the go, so the actual audio, the computer that's in charge of the audio of the radio show will be absolutely fine. This is the independent video stream computer. So yeah, I don't need AutoCAD open while I'm doing my radio show. I can't think of any reason. Right, 1 minute countdown. So yeah, if you don't know me, hi, I'm Jamie. I'm live on Off the Chart Radio in just under a minute's time. So head on over there now. If you want to hear the music, put the music on in the background, have the video on in the foreground, or vice versa. Entirely up to you. And get the other key. The one that actually controls the music. Yeah, it's going to be unusual being on a Tuesday. Tuesday to Wednesday. Oh, I nearly forgot to put the faders up as well. In the previous weeks. It's just gone, play. Nothing's happened. So, here we go. All good so far. That's the way to do it. Finally, happy with the start of the show. So, kicking off with a bit of Charlatans One to Another. And yeah, if it sounds like I'm shouting, I'm not meaning to. It's just I've got the music in my headphones, but you won't hear any music on this stream. If you're just joining me, you'll hear the music on www.offthechartradio.co.uk, where the radio show is. Over there. 2 weeks ago I had it perfect. Yep, that's not what's playing now. Oh, I haven't sent the thing through. That's what I did last week as well. I haven't sent the now playing information through. There we go. But at least I'm realising it this time. Last week I ended up sort of about 3 songs in before I remembered that things weren't set up properly. Welcome if you just joined the stream. Hello, send me a message. send me a message just below where you're watching this stream. It should get through. It should. Sorry, me being vain. It's just my hair's. I've got headphone hair. It should appear up there. Last show, I had somebody asking me for help with maths homework, which I've never done on my radio show before, so I'll try to do that again. I'm not sure how successful it was. Got my solidarity. Rob Wong was talking about the whole PG Tips Yorkshire tea thing going on social media today. I get ready to actually do my radio show link. So if you've just joined me now, and you're wondering what on earth's going on, this isn't like any Twitch stream I've normally watched. I'm also on other social media as well, but Twitch streamers might be expecting a game, or just chatting. This is more like just chatting. There won't be any games on this show. I am planning on doing some game streaming at some point, but well, yeah, it is more like just chatting, but there'll be gaps. So if you want to put the radio show in the background, then that'll sort of fill the gaps. Well, if you want to put your own music on, you can if you like, but won't match up with what I'm announcing. Again, that track is not what I'm playing. I'm not playing Dance With Me. I am streaming. I think. A good thing to check, I suppose. I mean, yeah, you can see me on the live thing. Ah, nice, okay. It is streaming then. Always sad to miss the end of Rob's show when I'm doing a handover. Okay, it's time for me to do a link. Ah, there you go. Right, now it's updated. Finally. That's the song I'm actually playing. Cheers, Rob, for another awesome show. The Charlatans and One to Another. Oh, that could be a pen as well for our little handover there. Jamie Nemeth live on the internet's number one. It is Off the Chart Radio, and we're about to go on another journey on the tenuous track title tour. So, previous show we had lots of songs with one in the title. This show we started off with One to Another, and now Another Journey by Steve Harley and Cockney Rebel. Got some Bioga on the way, and a bit of Ocean Colour Scene coming up on the show. Get in touch, Jamie at offthechartradio.co.uk. Oh, this is actually... I'm actually starting to feel like I know how to do radio this show. I shouldn't jinx myself. It's all going to go downhill from here, isn't it? So if you're just joining me, go there to hear the music. Put this on as well for the behind the scenes, watching the show as it's happening type of thing. Thingamy, whatever it is. Experimental live stream. But as I say, it's experimental live stream. It's also a sort of live test broadcast. You know, most people who do a test broadcast, it's just a test. This is live. This is real. I'm really doing a radio show, but it's also a test for future possible Twitch. I might do like Off the Chart Radio is finishing on June the 22nd. Off the Chart Radio pop-up. So for those of you who don't know anything about Off the Chart Radio, it was a station that was running for nearly 10 years, from 2004 to 2014, and then fell off air, we thought, for good. But because of the lockdown, it's come back, and it's been here for the past few months now, getting us through our lockdowns. But it will be coming to an end, sadly, on June the 22nd. So, from that point on, I'm going to do a little bit more Twitch streaming. So if you want to follow me on Twitch, if you're watching me on a social media right now that isn't Twitch, get on over to twitch.tv/Jamie Nemeth, and then you'll be able to keep following me while when I do Twitch stuff, however it's going to manifest. The other day I had a go at the ISS docking simulator. That was good fun. But my computer's not quite up to it yet. I need to get my new graphics card, which is arriving. Well, it's being dispatched on June the 12th, supposedly. So we'll see. We'll cross our fingers. Because at the moment my computer doesn't have a graphics card. It's not like a new graphics card. My computer just doesn't have one. Apart from the onboard one, obviously. You might be saying, well, how can you see the screen then? Well, because it's got its onboard graphics, but that's it. So most games run about 10 frames a second. Rob has covered us for the last 2 hours with new music, or newish music at least. This isn't really going to be that. Sorry. I mean, most of my music collection is sort of stuck in amber from 2014. I have added a few new additions to it, but even though Bioga have come out with a new album, this is actually one of their old ones. It's called, well, there's nothing wrong with it being old, it's still just as good. But yeah, they have brought out new stuff, so biogamusic.com if you like them. If you're wondering where you've heard the name before, or you're wondering why I'm assuming you might have heard the name because you don't know the name at all, Bioga were the ones on Ed Sheeran's track, Galway Girl. Not the traditional song Galway Girl, although they are a traditional band. So that kind of muddies the water sometimes. People will come up to bands I'm playing with and say, oh, do you play Galway Girl? And we'll play them Galway Girl, the actual original folk song Galway Girl. And they'll say, what's this? It's Galway Girl. No, you know, the Ed Sheeran one. It's just like, oh, and yeah. Say that at your peril with some folk musicians, but yeah, they're both great songs, and I think it was great that Ed Sheeran brought them on board. He loves Bioga, so do I. We got that in common. So here's Bioga and another track by the same title, Another Journey. I'm only going out on 3 out of 4. What's going on there then? One of them's disconnected. Oh, there's an error on my periscope. Oh well, maybe I've done too much periscoping. Well, it's a bit of a shame. I have tweeted about the show, so I mean, one of the purposes of this stream as well is that if you see it pop up, you go, ah, Jamie's on the radio. So if you join and then disappear, it's going to hammer my viewing figures on those media. But that's okay. I'm not too worried about that for now. I'm not going to go fully into that until after June the 22nd. And even then, I mean, it's a hobby right now. I know lots of people are really pushing to make streaming their thing, especially during lockdown, and good luck to everybody who's doing that. I'm sort of dabbling, but I'm curious. I'm curious enough to want to seriously dabble. That's the thing. But I do have a day job as well. I'm very lucky to have that. I know not everybody's in that position, but for now, this is definitely going to stay as a hobby. But also, all the advice to streamers anyway is if you're just starting out, don't. It's not a case of don't take it seriously, but don't assume that you can just go boom. Right now, I'm going to go full time streaming and make a career out of it. You can't. You know, it's just, everybody's in the same boat. Streaming, I guess, as with live music. Not right now, obviously during lockdown, but I'm talking about before that. If you go into it sort of assuming you're going to make a living wage straight away, you know, whether you should or not is a different matter. If you're putting in the work, of course, you should get something back for that work. But it's not like a machine. You don't put in effort and out comes money, unfortunately. unfortunately, as the case may be. Although with me, when I actually started earning a small amount of money from gigs. Sorry, just changing over the songs. When I actually started earning a small amount of money from gigs, I discovered that I needed to spend more on violin bows. So the minute I started making money, I just lost it straight away on consumables. So. Checking social media. Hi, Mas, as well. It's just like the stream. Keep seeing a massive streams popping up. Great. There's all sorts of stuff on there. Really enjoy watching them. Mic's on. Mic's on. That was a band that I think Mum actually recommended to me, producer Mum, The Changing Room and The Journeyman. And yeah, I hope you will enjoy and follow me on this journey and stay on the higher ground as well. What did you think of that, producer Mum?
I like the blend.
Oh, hang on. Let me turn you on first. All right, okay. The first glitch of the show being that I forgot to turn your mics on. It might sound bad, me saying that that's not too bad. I didn't mean it to be offensive to you, producer Mum and Dad. It's just that that's not the worst thing that could have happened. The worst thing that could have happened was the start of the last show, where the internet router fell over, and I just fell off air, and then, yeah, everything went wrong. So everything's gone right today, so that's okay. That's minor. That's our minor glitch for this mission. Hello?
I like
right,
the
okay,
blend
good.
of the two.
Sorry, go on.
Hello?
Yeah, it's working now.
I like the blend of the two.
Yeah.
By the way, I just remembered when you played Bjorga, you got a goodie bag.
I have, yeah. Wonder when that's going to get to me, actually, because Bjorga did a live stream. I was talking about their new album, actually, and did I say album then? I don't know why. Why I stuttered on album and no other word. Yeah, Bjorga have got a new album out, and they were due to do gigs for the launch, of course, and they haven't been able to do that. So what they did a couple of weeks ago was they did a live video with everybody who's featured on it. Lissy's on there as well, which when I saw that come up, I was like, what? Really? My gosh, this is brilliant. Loads of other great artists guest on the album as well. When I say guest on the album, I suppose they are guests because they're not in Bjorga, but they play a full part in those tracks that they guest
friends,
on.
I think they all were, weren't they?
Yeah. And I just commented. They said they were looking for some funny stories, so I sent them after Mum reminded me about a festival where when you lend I don't just lend my instrument to anybody, right? I don't.
Nobody usually.
No, I know, but if I can see I can trust somebody with my violin, I will. The problem is that my ability to judge whether somebody is trustworthy to hold on to my precious violin sort of changes when cider might be involved, and yeah. So this guy seemed to me like he was completely trustworthy with my violin. Handed it to him. He played a couple of tunes. I thought, yeah, he's good with that. As I turned my back, I sort of heard some funny sounds, and I think actually I didn't take any notice, but you were prodding me and just going, Jim, are you looking at what's happening with your violin over there? Maybe you weren't saying it that calmly. And I looked, and he was playing it with his teeth. My violin. My 100-year-old violin. What wasn't that necessarily like? It wasn't like a multi-thousand or multi-million-pound violin, but it was my violin, and it's priceless to me. And it's old, and it didn't need teeth anywhere near the strings. Apart from the fact that that's like, if you're going to do that with your own instrument for a bit of fun on the stage, fine, and make it part of your act, but not with somebody else's instrument.
No, never make it a part of your act. The wire going across your teeth. Ugh.
Oh, I know, it's disgusting.
No,
But
scary as well. Surely you could do some damage.
well, yeah, you wouldn't want to get your teeth. Oh gosh. Anyway, but then later on in that same session, it wasn't strictly a gig. Although what was happening was it was the after party for the festival we were at, Pontardawe Festival.
Yeah, we were part of the crew, and the crew kind of form a scrub band at the end.
Yeah, so it was sort of an unofficial, informal gig. Came off the stage, somebody borrowed the fiddle, as I say, and then someone borrowed Dad's guitar, the same person actually, and proceeded to play it with a 2-pence piece.
Yeah.
Were you amused?
Not amused. At all. At all.
At least it wasn't his teeth.
I think marginally, apart from the icky value, teeth are better than a 2-pence piece.
Yes.
For the strings, anyway. Not for your teeth. Don't try playing a 2-pence piece with your teeth. There you go. This is why you came to Off the Chart Radio tonight, isn't it? For such important nuggets of information. So, yeah, Jamie at offthechartradio.co.uk. That's Jamie at offthechartradio.co.uk if you want to email in. Or give me a message on social media. Let me know you're tuned in. Hello to Ross, Amas, and Rob's like the video stream I've put up as well. And so that's like a behind-the-scenes extra thing that I'm doing at the moment. In lieu of future video streams that might happen when Off the Chart Radio falls off air again on June the 22nd. June the 22nd is going to be our last ever show on the station, and it also looks like, producer Mum and Dad, I am closing proceedings on June the 21st on Sunday night. My show will be the last show on Off the Chart Radio pop-up. I didn't know I had that unique and slightly sad honour, but it seems that I do. But I don't know, Rob was asking me how I felt about it. And it's weird. Like 6 years ago, when the station was about to fall off air, I was chomping at the bit to keep it on air. So I was like, no, we've got to save it. Come on. How can we do this? I was gonna buy all the equipment off Tim and get him to post it down to me. Come on, I can do this, and rally everybody together. And it sadly just it never came off. But I was really sort of all that energy had no. Well, yeah, a few of us were ready to band it together, but I was fuming. I was like, come on, once it's gone, it won't come back. Well, so I was wrong there. At least it has come back through less than ideal circumstances, as we've said many times. But it has been fantastic to have it back in our lives. But also, I think I've mellowed. Something's happened to me over the past 6 years, because even though I will be gutted when it finishes, I really will be. And I know I'll miss it. And I know on Sunday night next week, as in the week after this week, I will be quite sad. And I know on Monday I'm going to be even sadder. But right now, I'm in this weird mode where it's like, yeah, but it'd be nice to have a bit of a break. What's wrong? What's happened to me, Mum?
I think it's just that you appreciate things more for what they are as they're happening now. You know, you're not.
Yeah, that's true.
You're not thinking in terms of the following week and the following week. Every week is an adventure in itself. But I do think it will be the week after, when the adventure isn't there, that it'll hit you.
I think that's why I say in lieu of future video streaming stuff, because as I've said to the people on the stream before starting the show, this is live, this is happening, it's not just a test broadcast. However, my live radio show also being behind the scenes video stream is a test broadcast for me potentially carrying something on, because when Off the Chart Radio finished last time, everybody seemed shocked at this, which was a compliment, I suppose, so I should thank people for that. But everybody seemed shocked that I hadn't done any radio since. Well, I don't know why, it just stopped. Just went on. Well, it didn't stop completely, it obviously went on pause, because I still had my radio station set up, almost ready to go. It didn't need much to get it going again. Whereas some people I know had packed away everything. But why wouldn't you? You need the room if you're not using radio anymore. And other people were presenting non-stop on other stations, so they had their home studios or the studios they were going to. And of course, the home studios have been invaluable now with lockdown. I know Jason's talked about all the shows that they're doing from home on their station, and lots of stations around the country doing the same. I know listening to our local radio to us, actually that's a good point. That sounded like a deliberate segue, and it wasn't. But our local station I listen to a lot, and they have a sister station called Swansea Sound. And Swansea Sound is at risk of imminent closure. And I know Swansea Sound is part of a conglomerate of other stations, so you might think, well, okay, all companies are going through problems at the moment, and this was almost inevitable. However, the history of Swansea Sound is independent of that conglomerate. It was, it was from before that. So it'd be like, imagine if Off the Chart Radio today got taken over by a conglomerate, right? That wouldn't have stopped the past. Well, it's longer than 10 years, isn't it? I know there's been a gap, but 2004, 2020, that wouldn't have stopped the past 16 years of history being Off the Chart Radio's history, not somebody else's history, if that makes sense.
That's the point, is they're saying that they're going to carry on with the show, but it's going to be renamed. Obviously, in a different format. And they can't, the people that have taken over can't understand that people are sad about this idea, that because it was they don't understand it because...
the station's changing name, you mean?
Yeah, to Swansea Sound, to people then listening to Swansea Sound, it represents not just a big station, but represents a distinct area. And that means something to people. So I think that was the same with you. I think that's why you didn't carry on with or join any other radio station, because you did have the opportunities to. But it was because OTC meant so much to you. It is a quite a unique station, because it allows for everybody to have their own independent ways of putting it together. There were the guidelines in place to protect listeners, but
are you saying they need protecting from my music collection? Probably do.
What you could do.
Sorry,
I think that's what the same thing with Swansea Sound. They had their own choice. They were independent, and you don't get that when you're part of a large station.
Yeah. And you said about Off the Chart being unique. I mean, I'm just trying to make sure I don't get the history wrong here, but it was certainly one of the first internet stations. There have been internet stations since people worked out that they could plug mics into computers and talk on them over the internet. But in terms of actually being a station that tried to be a proper radio station, and I'm not trying to say tried, I'm not trying to put down Off the Chart while I'm broadcasting on it, I just mean we were actually trying to be a station with music, with proper jingles, with a schedule, a regular schedule. Okay, not so much now with the pop-up station that's been a rolling schedule, but with a format that sounded like it was a proper radio station, because it was, and it became so. And in fact, Off the Chart Radio was around before there were really.
We're going to lose you again, Studio 2.
What? Why?
Because you're going.
Going where?
You're fading out.
Oh, I don't know why. Well, that's not me. It's fully charged, so don't blame me. But yeah, Off the Chart Radio was around before there was even proper licensing in this country, at least. Although I think everybody was playing catch up with the internet radio licensing. So yeah, and from what I read before I joined the station, that's what Off the Chart was doing, was liaising with the licensing agencies and working out how this would work out for the best, and liaising as in advising both ways. You know, the people in charge of the licensing were accommodating to Off the Chart because it was one of the pioneers. It was the pioneer, I would argue. And in the same way, Swansea Sound was, and I only found out this recently thanks to Mal Pope's blog, and Swansea Sound was Wales's first commercial station. I honestly thought Cardiff would have got there first, because Cardiff gets there first with a lot of things. Swansea had Wales's first commercial radio station. And so that's in Swansea Sound's history. So I thought I'd just give a bit of a shout out from one pioneer to another. From one pioneering station to another, I should say. Although I am a pioneer in other ways, maybe. Whether that's good or bad. But yeah, thought I'd give a shout out to them. And if you've got any thoughts about Swansea Sound as well, Jamie at offthechartradio.co.uk. We're going to go on with the Tenuous Track Title Tour right now, though, and we're on to Ocean Colour Scene. So we had Steve Harley and Cockney Rebel with Another Journey, Bioga and Another Journey, The Changing Room and The Journeyman, and then Ocean Colour Scene, Traveller's Tune. Oh, yeah, that's true. It's a good point, Rob. The lyric in this Ocean Colour Scene song was, where are you now, staring at your favourite box? That could be this video stream. That could be staring at the radio. You don't normally stare at the radio. The advantage of radio, actually, if you're not watching on the video stream, is that you can have it on the background and listen to it rather than have to watch it, like the TV. But there we go. Yeah, cheers for the reminder, Rob. How is it working for you in terms of hearing the show at the same time as the video stream? Because Rob has just said now it's the first time he's watched the stream sort of with more precedence than listening to the show, as opposed to the other way around. You know, I usually say have the show on and then have this on in the background, but that Rob's trialing it the other way around. Is it working, or is it just weird because I'm sort of talking? I guess I'm a bit like I said about Scott Ashworth's Crossing the Streams. I must be talking and then repeating the same thing about 40 seconds later, I'm guessing, on the station audio. Talking of station audio, if you're just joining me, hello, welcome. The actual songs that I'm playing are on offthechartradio.co.uk for licensing reasons. Actually, I've said that every week for licensing reasons, but it's actually really, really relevant now, because I don't know if you're aware of this if you're not on Twitch, but if you are on Twitch, you might not be aware either. There's a lot of concern at the moment, a lot of discussions going on the chat forums, where basically if you play music on stream, it's always been, you know, I've said on previous video streams, I'm being a good boy and not playing music just in case because I don't know any better. That is the problem. I do know better, so really I could have seen this coming. I'm very new to Twitch, but I could have seen this coming. It's always been naughty to play music on your video. But YouTube have got content matching, and more often than not, the labels are happy for you to play the music. So it's a risk, because they might not be, and you'll get a copyright strike. But, as I say, more often than not, you can play music on your YouTube stream, and it'll be caught by the content match system. They then get their royalties, and they're happy. You may lose your monetization, or the label might be happy for you to have your monetization, and a proportion of it goes to them. And what I do when I'm doing cover versions on YouTube, let me just start with this next track. So where was I? Yeah. Yeah. Or what I do when I do cover versions, with violin and guitar and stuff. I actually go through what's it called? wearethehits.com. And what you do is you upload your video to wearethehits.com. The rules are that it must be a cover version. You can't just upload the track or upload you doing karaoke to the track. You'd have to either have a karaoke track that was license free or make your own backing track. But what that then does is covers the licensing for you. So it's been set up by somebody who used to work for Universal, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But they were dissatisfied because it was so hard to work out sync licenses and everything. So you send the track to We Are The Hits. It then uploads it to YouTube for you, and all the licenses are covered. It's already been claimed by We Are The Hits, so nobody else can sort of try and claim it afterwards. And that's really handy. And they've got like 3 million tracks, that you can pick from. And sometimes it looks like the latest hits aren't there, but if you actually are a bit more clever about your researching, sometimes the database just isn't quite right or something. It'll have the track title, but it won't have the artist title, but it will have the composers. So if you look up the composers of the song and the lyricists of the song, you can sometimes find them. Or maybe like the artist has their artist name, but their real name is actually what's in the database. So that's useful anyway. I'll stop. I don't mind plugging them, but I'll stop plugging them for a second. The point is that people are very concerned on Twitch right now because the system that was on YouTube has now caught up to Twitch. Twitch are having to put in a similar system. And so people who've been playing music in the background of their streams, worse, some of them have been making that a feature of their streams. Like people can message in with requests for certain songs. That's like, that's full songs in there. They're definitely going to get copyright striked at some point. But I was watching, is it Devin Nash, who was saying, look, I mean, yes, it is important to be safe, but you're unlikely to get outright banned from the channel for having music, at least right now, because it would mean that they'd lose Twitch, because everybody just, they'd have to ban like thousands of users who are their most popular users, so they're not going to do that, is his opinion and his feeling, based on sort of common sense and experience, and it doesn't make sense. But as a new streamer just coming into this, I'm very glad that I took this decision not to play the music on stream. Just because of my radio experience, really. I thought, well, it doesn't make sense to do so. And it's cutting out next door. I wonder if it's just because the volume is too loud. Try it now. We seem to have heard from Free quite a lot on the show. Free and Travelling in Style. Before that, Ocean Colour Scene and Traveller's Tune. We're keeping on that travelling theme. Let's put this record on. Santana and Travelling Blues. Oop, got a bit thrown then. Because my headphone volume, I'm trying to turn my headphone volume down. Because Angela just messaged in, his mum, producer mum. It's happening again when you speak on here, it cuts out next door. That's, I'm wondering if it's just because my headphone volume is too loud, and my headphone volume... my headphone output is being shared between my headphones and the next door, speaker next door. So maybe it's just because I'm talking too loud. So it's hitting the limit of the transmitter thing. I haven't really got a way around that other than to swap the outputs, but I can't do that right now. That's beyond my multitasking limit, and it'll probably break the show. But I should have the headphones turned quieter anyway, for precisely the reasons I was just talking about. because YouTube has in the past content matched me for the headphone leakage, as in the sound coming out, leaking out of the headphones. Saying headphone leakage makes it sound unpleasant. I'm not meaning to. Just, that's what it's called. That's the technical term for it. Another sip of solidarity. You didn't hear the. You didn't hear the drum. It sounded like the drummer in the band went plimps in response to that joke. That was quite funny. I've announced the email several times. Probably should check it. Email seems to be like writing a letter. It's finally evolved to the point where nobody uses it. Send me a message if you fancy using snail mail. The new snail mail email. Jamie@offthechartradio.co.uk, or you can message me on Twitch. Oh, not on Periscope apparently, because that's gone wrong. Excuse me. Is it happening with the music or only with the talking? I've tried turning the overall volume down, just in case it's spiking, and maybe that's why it's cutting out. Did feel like putting a record on, especially because it fades in at the start. That's unusual for a track. So I felt like I was dropping the needle onto that record. Santana and Travelling Blues. Not that dropping a needle onto a record makes it fade in either, unless the track itself fades in. Anyway, yeah. We're going to go on to Creedence Clearwater Revival and Travelling Band. Then we got a band called Nose. I did walk past the Bleeding Noses CD on the way into the studio. It's not them. Yeah, Rob's listening to all the behind the scenes bits. So cheers for watching along. Yeah, nobody say listening along, watching along. But yeah, what I found with Twitch is that it lets you edit the videos that you've streamed. So, video editing's getting a lot quicker for me because I've got this computer that I got down the shop. It was the computer that was at London Summer Jam in 2013. That I then put in a cardboard box to save for future outside broadcasts that never happened, given that Off the Chart finished in 2014. And then it's only recently I said to myself, I had to have a hard conversation with myself and say, Jamie, is your outside broadcast computer, has it actually been outside? No. Has it been outside its cardboard box? No. Why? Why have I got this perfectly good computer that's actually eons better than my Old Faithful? Don't listen. Just that's the Old Faithful is actually running the radio show right now. Still perfectly capable for audio, just not so great for video. Took 7 hours to edit a 5-minute video on average. The new one, half hour, even less sometimes. It flies through it. Part of that is editing in HD, which obviously hammers it, but we've gone on to a very different type of show, haven't we, from where we were with Rob Wong 42 minutes ago? But there we go. That's fine. That was always going to happen. You can expect that to happen with me, especially with this traveling tenuous. I was trying to say traveling track title tour. No, tenuous track title tour. Yeah. You can tell I practiced that, can't you? So, Creedence Clearwater Revival and Travelling Band, and we're going on to a band called Nose. Now, in a previous show, I talked about made-up bands. I'm not sure if this is one of those bands. It sounds like a proper recording. What I mean by that is that CDs that you used to get with newspapers used to have, 8 tracks on them, and then the other 4 would be bands you'd never heard of, and you'd listen to it and you'd think, this is great background music. I used to use some of them for talkover music because it was great. They were all instrumental, and great radio talking beds, if you know the technical terms. So we'd have those on in the background and talk over them. It'd be great. But then some of them, every so often, are like an actual proper recorded song, and so I'm a bit confused by this one. This one sounds like it's a proper band. So, do you know anything about the band Nose? Tell me. Not the Bleeding Noses, who I have played on the show in the past. Nose. N-O-S-E. All in capitals on my computer. That might just be the way my computer imported it. I don't know. But it's a great song, and I cannot find anything about this band. I've tried typing in the song title. I've tried typing in lyrics from the song. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Yeah, and it's frustrating when things like that happen. Can't find anything about this track at all. The other computer's down there. See me just bending down, reaching into the cellar. So if you're just joining me on the video stream, hello, welcome, send me a message, let me know you're listening, and it'll appear there. What doesn't help is I've got a window in front of where those messages will appear at the moment. So maybe I should move that. There we go. And, oh, hi, Scott. Oh, great to have you tuned in. No, there's no music on here. You need to go here. For licensing reasons. Oh, it's great to hear from you. These aren't the Bleeding Noses, are they? Because I'm going to say that in the next radio link. So yeah, if you can't hear the music, go there, offthechartradio.co.uk, put that on in the background, have this on the foreground, or vice versa. This is just like in the, I was going to say the old days, but like the very first days when the internet became fast enough for video, and it wasn't quite fast enough for full streaming video, but it was fast enough to have a webcam. This is what I'm harking back to really here. This is the webcam in the studio. It's a lot faster than, it's not updating every 10 seconds like it used to. But all the stations got onto that bandwagon, didn't they? So yeah. But the actual proper show, at least until June the 22nd, is happening on our station site there. I'm just showing off that I'm pointing to the right place because I started the show pointing over here again. It's because I haven't got the image reversed on the screen. I could, but then that would be more confusing because then I'd be trying to compensate for it. Scott, Pete, and Alison have just joined me. Welcome to the show. Hope you're enjoying the tunes. That was Nose and Travelling. Now, I said it's not the Bleeding Noses, but wouldn't it be ironic if I just happened to have imported their CD without knowing that it actually was their CD? It's just come up with the wrong name. Or maybe Nose was the compilation. Maybe it's a compilation album. That's not the band name at all. I don't know. It's a mystery. But it's a great track, isn't it? Oh, it's really winding me up that I can't find out who they are. Yeah, so if you know what that track is, or who it's by, even better, if you're the ones who made that track, Jamie at offthechartradio.co.uk, I'd love to know who you are, so that I can update it in my music library, and that's the only reason I'm asking you, and I don't want any further contact with you ever again. No, obviously not. I'd love to know who you are. I want to follow your page. I want to listen to more of your music. Who are you? I could play that song now, but it doesn't fit in with the theme. We're doing the tenuous track title tour, where I link together tracks by their titles, sometimes more tenuously than others. But in this case, we've got a travelling theme, travelling on through at least the next song. This would probably be more appropriate at the end of the show, having thought of it just now, because it's good night, travel well. Sounds like a goodbye message, but I'm here for at least another hour and 10 minutes, so don't go anywhere yet. Here's the Killers. It's deep, isn't it? The universe is standing still. I'll not read out too many lyrics, it'll sound like I'm covering the song. Yeah, lots of misunderstandings online. The 30-second myth is alive and well. And it is a myth, unfortunately. Lots of people are saying, as long as you play less than 30 seconds of a song, you'll be fine. And giving that as advice to other people. I don't blame you, because I'd believe it if I heard it, but it's wrong. You can, under certain circumstances, play music if you're playing it on your stream. Or people get it mixed up with fair use. So they say, it's fair use to play the music. Well, it's only fair use if you're including it for the purposes of criticism or review. I'm not a lawyer, so again, don't take that as rock solid advice. I just mean, there's lots of people who've done. I've watched a Tom Scott video where he explains this in great detail, very well. In great detail, but very straightforwardly, so that we can understand it. Not being lawyers. But yeah, fair use is often misunderstood and often misused, and won't get you off. Won't get you off a Twitch strike. That's hard to say. So, yeah, hopefully there's no music coming through on the video stream. There shouldn't be. Should only be coming through on the radio show. But this is the place to hear the extra bits. But I will be putting them up after the show anyway. So I'm going through previous shows, and obviously the bits where there is no music, when it's live, you can put the radio show on at the same time. So that's fine. But it's harder to sync up after the show. If you're watching this live stream after the show and you're trying to find the exact point I was at on the Mixcloud, I mean, you can do that. It's physically possible, but it's blooming hard to do. You have to try and get two independent tracks in sync, and they're going to fall out of sync with each other anytime one of them loads. So, nightmare. What I am doing on Twitch is taking out the silences and leaving in the just chatting. So when you watch this stream afterwards, or any of the previous video streams I've done afterwards, it'd be more like a sort of podcast version of the show, where there'll be no music, but also no gaps where the music was. So I did a little bit of a vote on my Facebook page. Would people like a show with just the links in a podcast-like format? Had 50% of the vote said yes, 50% of the vote said no. So I ended up not doing it, but then doing it anyway. Because Twitch means that the editor in Twitch, I should say, just makes it very easy to do. So I was envisaging it being a long and laborious process where I download the video or record the video on the computer, cut out the silences, and then upload it, which would have taken me a fair bit of time in the video editor, but it would have been doable, and I'd have done it if people wanted me to. The vote was 50-50, so I thought, well, maybe it's not so much, maybe it's not so worth the effort then if there's not a massive calling for it. And then the Twitch editor let me do it anyway, really easily. A lot easier than in my own video editor. So, yeah, we've gone with that. So if you have a look down below the stream, I think actually if I'm streaming live, it just shows full window, doesn't it? If you click on my profile and then click on about, or just scroll down possibly, it'll show you. If I click on videos below, rather, there's a playlist of themed clips where the clips actually have a theme, a title to do with what the clip's about, and then the ones that just say live and off the chart radio pop up with a date, they're the whole show just minus the music. All the talking bits, none of the music. I'm actually into my backup tracks. That's what I was just checking that I wasn't going to run short, because when we've had the clap for carers, I've lost 10 minutes of the show. No, that's fine. I've normally actually carried on just 10 minutes later, but I don't have to. It's an option. Whereas now tonight there isn't the clap for carers. I've started dead on 8 o'clock. When that happened before, when I started dead on 8 o'clock, I ended up falling short by 10 minutes. It's quite funny. Social media. Check my socials. I'm moving the transmitter again. Right, I've moved the transmitter in here. I just need to keep moving it round until you find a sweet spot. It's to do with because you're sitting in between the transmitter and it's not very powerful. That's all. Has that made it worse or better? Yeah, if you're just joining me, go that. So, yeah, if you're just joining me, welcome, go away. That's not what I meant. I just mean that for licensing reasons, there won't be any music on this stream. There is music there. That's where I'm actually playing the music. I'm doing a live radio show right now. This is the behind the scenes video stream. A bit like the webcam, as I was talking about just now on the show. Back in the days when every radio station had to have a webcam, I'm sort of experimenting as a bit of a hark back to those days, and also a hark towards, if that's a thing, hark towards future days of doing a bit more video streaming now that I've got the broadcasting bug back, thanks to Off the Chart Radio pop-up, which will be finishing on June the 22nd. So from June the 23rd, probably, I'll be busy on June the 22nd doing the, we'll all be contributing to the final show on Off the Chart Radio pop-up, but from June the 23rd onwards, I'm going to be trying to fill the vacuum that will be left by me not doing Off the Chart shows anymore. But the thing is, when Off the Chart stopped last time, I did do the odd Mixcloud show, but it wasn't live. Of course, it's all changed now. Mixcloud now has a Mixcloud Live, which didn't exist when Off the Chart closed 6 years ago for the first time. I think Twitch probably did exist, but I didn't know what it was. It's existed for 10 years. I didn't know anything about it. But they're diversifying a lot now in having just chatting streams and streams that aren't purely game-based, which is great, It's opened the door to people like me, some comedian friends of mine as well, have made their way over here, and that's what I did, basically. I followed them through the door. Let my curiosity help me follow them through the door by doing my next link. Mic's on. Live version there of Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, Because the Night. I shouldn't say because the night. That sounds odd. You've just heard him say because the night, and I go because the night. So one of our friends, Keith, always used to say emphasis on the wrong syllable, didn't he, ma'am?
Yep.
There's nothing wrong in saying because, it just sounded odd. Yeah, sorry. Sorry to jar your brain there. Before that, The Killers and Good Night, Travel Well. That was an interesting song. Very ethereal, and they can be ethereal, but not a song that I'm familiar with of theirs, so that's what this is all about. And we're going on to a song I'm not familiar with from Corinne Bailey Rae. I don't think I've heard this one before. I might have. Maybe I'll realise halfway through, actually, I've heard this one before. But on that night theme, so we've got Good Night, Travel Well. That was our transition between the travelling theme and the night theme. We've gone from travelling in the day to travelling in the night. Because the Night by Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, and then Corinne Bailey Rae and Paris Nights, New York Mornings. Must be a bit like watching me on a silent disco. I remember the first silent disco I went to in Sin City in Swansea. That was good. Never been to one before. Again, much like Twitch, actually. I never understood the appeal of a silent disco. Obviously, okay, the appeal is it's silent, so you don't have to worry about noise pollution and stuff like that. But it's a nightclub that has live music anyway, so they weren't worried about that necessarily. Although, actually, no, that's not fair. They probably were worried about it. So maybe they're trying silent disco as a theme. Maybe on a Sunday night when you weren't expecting, you expect a live gig, a loud live gig on a Saturday night. Maybe you don't expect it on a Sunday night. Try not to annoy the residents too much, perhaps. So they were trying something new. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I honestly never appreciated it before. And yeah, you're embarrassed at first, but that you're all in the same boat. So it's like any activity where part of the purpose is to be mutually slightly embarrassed. You're obviously not. I'm not advocating doing things that are really humiliating. No, but team building exercises are meant to be sort of slightly embarrassing, aren't they? It can be humiliating as well, but you're all in the same boat. Yeah, you get into it so quick. 2 songs in, and you don't care, and then you start pulling your headphones off and like watching and laughing at other people because they're singing along, and you just laugh at their out-of-tune singing, but they look back at you and they laugh at the fact you're laughing at them. They know you're not laughing at them; you're laughing with them, sort of. Because you're all in this weird, surreal situation with silent disco, aren't you? So, like, it's really. If it's inappropriate to say, inappropriate, it's not the word I was looking for. If it's too grand to say liberating, but it's like a liberating experience. You're all singing out of tune and you all don't care. There's no judgment anywhere. And you delight in that that hilarity. You deliberately switch tracks and watch as people are just dancing madly to a track that's quite chilled. Or vice versa. I like that song. That's good. I am pleased with myself. Not every show has gone this well, technically. Don't jinx yourself. Apart from them. Okay, the studio link isn't perfect still, but between Studio 1 and 2, I typed in "fun" some nights. The track I'm playing now. It hasn't come up yet on there. And this track came up that completely wasn't the right track. It made me panic. I thought there is actually one naughty word in this song, but caught that. This song was like full of naughty words, and I was just going, and the content wasn't wasn't this. It wasn't the same song basically. So there's two bands called Fun, who've both released a song called Some Nights. Clearly, because it was not like the content was just whoa, totally different. It's actually quite deep in the middle of the lyrics. In the middle of, everybody sings along with the poppy bits. You often don't hear. I shouldn't say you. I meant like a royal you, a plural, collective you. But really, I mean me. I don't hear the deep lyrics often between choruses. We sing along to choruses, like Korean Bailey Ray as well. Everybody knows, hey, put your records on. Oops, shouldn't have sung that. I sang it badly, right? That shouldn't count as a content match. But everybody knows that song, right? I didn't technically sing it. I quoted it for the purposes of criticism and review. But everybody knows that song. I can honestly say I don't really know many of the others. Yeah, we just listen to the popular one, and we just don't know the others. It's completely forgivable. It's human. It's what we all do. But that's what's good about the show, is it? And what's always been good about my radio show, actually gives me an excuse to sit down and have to. It's not a chore, but I have to sit down and dedicate at least an hour. It's normally longer than that, but at least an hour to listening to music properly. And obviously then the 2 hours I'm presenting the show, I'm listening to it. Until I started waffling on Twitch at the same time. But Fun. No, that's what the band are called. Fun. And Some Nights. Before that, Corinne Bailey Ray and Paris Nights / New York Mornings. Back at those times when you could do that, actually. Somebody who may well be listening to the show did a day trip to New York once. Thought they were bonkers. But it is doable. Obviously not, you wouldn't get much out of 24 hours, so you leave early in the morning one day, get over there, spend the whole day in New York, and then fly back, and you get back in the late hours of... So really, it's like a 48 hours, that day trip. It's the best part, 48 hours. But, yeah... It could be done. Weren't there all those stories, of course, before lockdown, where people were working out that it was cheaper to live in Barcelona or something and fly to London for work every day rather than living in London, which, they were only doing it as a demonstration of how absurd the point was, how absurd it was. But yeah, the fact it's even possible, was even possible. Let's hope that in our new world we're not all in a rush to get back to normal and such absurdity. And yeah, we all just realise and take from the current situation, that which hasn't, as I say, been under ideal circumstances or for ideal reasons. But let's take the positives that we've found from our time in lockdown, as it's starting to gradually ease. I caution you, gradually. Don't just all rush out to the beach again. But yeah, it's gradually easing. Off the Chart Radio is here as a pop-up station for lockdown. It's finishing, so that's yet another sign that things are gradually easing. Shops are starting to open, as Rob was talking about. Some of the non-essential, non-essential shops are going to be starting to open again. Different rules, slightly different rules in different parts of the UK where we're broadcasting from now. Obviously, there'll be different rules around the world. New Zealand, of course. If we're going to clap for anybody, it should be Jacinda Ardern, and I'm sure she didn't do it on her own, but she's been pretty incredible. I think we're all unanimously agreed around the world on that. I hope so. And they've been celebrating and hugging each other because the last person, I know not everybody has been so fortunate, of course, and that's terrible, but it's just so poignant that the last person who had COVID in New Zealand recovered from it. And so, that means that I hope they're going to maintain restrictions on people going in and out of the country, but it means that, the last person who had it's now recovered. I presume they've tested them first before, they've just gone, yay, they've recovered. Oh, wait, hang on. Oops. No, I'm sure they've done tests and everything, and they are, fingers crossed, touch wood, cross legs, if that's a superstitious, I don't know, I'm not superstitious, but I'll join in with any superstitious positive thing I can do that it's now completely gone in New Zealand, and let's hope that other countries, talking to colleagues who are in Greece, there's been a little bit of worry today that things have, things haven't gone away completely. There was a bit of an easing earlier on this month. But let's hope that we're seeing the downward trend of this now. Let's hope. And now for something completely different. Because, it's linking with the theme. It's going to have might in the title. But, I said earlier that I played a song called Good Night, Travel Well, and that sounded like it should have been at the end of the show. It's not going to be the least appropriate song on the show. I'm not going to play anything inappropriate. I just mean it's not going to be the least appropriate song on the show, because in a couple of songs' time, I'm going to be playing a track that I joked, I think it was with Jason Moyle, I joked that, wouldn't it be funny if this artist, after being so well known for their iconic song, then did their live stream on a different night. But that's after this classic by Corona. Got a bit of Kaiser Chiefs coming up on the show, and some Dr. Hook. And we're going to get there from playing Corona, yes, because, we're going to do that. We can. I was just checking that I've done that before. I've gone, now I'm talking on my off-air, behind-the-scenes stream, and my mic's been live. Sometimes it's funny, but sometimes it's not funny if I'm just, talking across the top of the track. It's embarrassing. Gosh, I remember back in the day, I was having a nice natter with Mike Redding and Laura. I've forgotten Laura's surname. Who also are fellow presenters on Off the Chart. And they were talking to me off air. It was the other way around. My mic was actually down, but I'd left their on-air channel live by accident. I think I did it both ways around, actually, on different shows. So one time you could hear their side of the conversation and not mine. And one time you could hear my side of the conversation, not theirs. Off air, over the top of the song. Bit embarrassing. A little bit like when people are on their speakerphone in their car, and you can hear one side of the conversation at 90 decibels, and they don't seem to realise how loud it comes out of the car, do they? Sometimes it can be private stuff. It's like, have you told them they're on speakerphone? No, speakerphone's fine. At least speakerphone only broadcasts you to the room you're in, so you've got some control about who's there and who's hearing it. But just broadcasting to the road? No. Broadcasting to the entire car park. So, if you've just joined me and you're wondering why I'm talking about the music I'm playing, but you can't hear any of it, that's okay. That means everything's actually working correctly. You're not meant to be hearing music on this video stream. The music's only happening on our official station website, www.offthechartradio.co.uk, where I'm doing a live Shadio row. I'm doing a live radio show right now. Sounded like a bad Ronnie Barker. Getting all my worms mixed up. A live Shadio row. On the internet's Ember None. That doesn't work. Just gonna hand over this song. Okay, second technical thing to go wrong. Accidentally played the wrong player. That's okay. Actually, no, it's not. Updated with the wrong track title. Change that. Okay, I can manually override. Manual override, Commander. Gosh, Saturday Night by Wigfield. Jason Moyle recently interviewed Wigfield. She's been bringing out some new music as well. And again, another artist. Do you know any other songs by Wigfield? Well, apart from if you were listening to Jason Moyle show, I don't. I'll have my hands up. I'm really sorry, I don't. So, need to put that on the list. I'm going to listen to more of Wigfield stuff. Actually, no, tell a lie. I do know more of Wigfield. I listened to Jason Moyle show, and Jason had one of her new tracks on the show. So, but apart from that one, no, I don't know any of the back catalogue. I remember in primary school, which was when this song came out, about 8, 9. I remember getting, I know, don't judge me, the Sun newspaper it was in. Don't buy the Sun. Just used to be the paper that we had in the house all the time. And they had how to do the dance, you know, the famous dance. Can I do this? If I do this in the video stream, well, I don't really want to anyway, don't dance. If I do it, is that covered by copyright? I don't know. I don't think so, it's such a well-known dance. But, you know. Can't quite turn sideways in here, too small. Ow. Hit my head near the desk. But I remember printing out, sorry, I didn't print it out at all. I cut out the instructions from the newspaper, stuck it onto a cardboard and took it into school, and that was my contribution to the lesson. That they stuck it up on the wall. Felt very proud of myself. See, I was a teacher even in primary school. I wanted to teach people dance. How did I end up teaching people physics then? Well, also in primary school, I was talking about Swansea Sound. I was interviewed on Swansea Sound by Kev Johns, who's a local celebrity, local personality. Always in the Swansea Grand Theatre pantomime every year, pretty much without fail, I would have said, for the past 20 odd years, maybe even longer. Also a fully qualified reverend, so he officiates ceremonies and weddings and everything. Often does things like does like a little service before a match, a little blessing before a match or something. Yeah, he was interviewing me on Swansea Sound and asked me, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "A bus driver." What? Why do you want to be a bus driver? Because I like the sound of the engine. Unrealised dream. Of course, now bus drivers, among many other people, are our key workers and our most valuable workers in the entire country, so... Jamie Nemeth dance classics on Off the Chart Radio. Wakefield on Saturday night, and this is the song I was talking about, where I joked with Jason, because Wakefield is doing a live stream on her Facebook on Saturday night, and I thought, oh, but of course it would be, of course, because that's very fitting, because the song Saturday night, and also taking ownership of it as well. Quite often, people who are well known for one song or one thing kind of get ashamed of it, and that's a shame, because there's nothing wrong with the song. It's just a very well-known, very well-played song, and we don't know many of the others. Same with Chesney Hawkes. He's completely owned that, I am the one and only. And he does loads of gigs and things. We don't really, he's not in the media so much now. But yeah, he's always happy to sing it, and, very humble about himself. And I remember, we were watching Chesney Hawkes on one of the first, there's Wakefield, on my video stream. Chesney Hawkes was on one of the first Isolation festivals that we saw as well. And he had his son playing with him as well. It was really, really good. But yeah, I was joking about the fact that, obviously, Wakefield's doing her stream on Saturday night. I mean, imagine how weird it would be if, Wakefield decided instead to do it on Tuesday evening. Join my live stream, Wakefield, famous for Saturday night, on Tuesday evening. And what have I done tonight? It's Tuesday evening. I'm playing Saturday night. And that's not the first track called Saturday Night that I've got. Oh, no. Here's a noisette. Noisettes. It's probably noisettes, isn't it? But I always used to call it noisette for some reason. You have a cake, noisette whirl. Now I've got my headphones quieter. I'm throwing myself. I'm turning the faders up higher, and then watching as it's going too loud. Well, it's not too loud. It's got some headroom, but louder than it should be. Louder than it needs to be. This is cruel as well. I can smell food. Normally I can't smell the food during the show. I'm just looking forward to it after the show, but now my stomach's definitely rumbling. I'm not eager to get away from my show, but I am now very hungry. We always eat very late as a family for some reason. And because I started at 8 o'clock, that's normally when we have food. Watch the soaps. Oh, Emmerdale last night was so heartwarming. As I'd heard news, actually. If you're watching from around the world, Emmerdale is a soap that we have here in the UK. I think, everybody knows Home and Away, even though that's in Australia. But I don't know if Emmerdale is well known around the world in the same way. But I'd seen on the news that they'd started filming New Emmerdale. The lockdown had only just started easing, so I thought, but there's still social distancing rules in place, so I wondered how that was going to work. And they did such an incredible job. To the point where you could see that the social distancing was taking place with a technical eye, but it was all plausible as well. They'd really, fantastic actors. Sorry, I don't know the names off the top of my head, but the one who plays Sam Dingle and Lydia Hart. Oh, if you watch that episode on ITV Catch Up, just for the sheer, they deserve an award for the acting, because, especially under these circumstances, I was completely convinced that they were Sam and Lydia in lockdown. And the way they played it and sort of changed up the scenes so that it didn't look too obvious that they were always keeping their distance. Lydia'd be at the sink doing something, Sam would be at the chessboard, and then later on Lydia'd be at the chessboard, so it looked like Lydia just moved at one of the pieces, I'm sure there's a name in theatre studies for that type of play as well. They're probably inspired by two people either side of the stage. But it also serves as a handy reminder for when I'm next on Off the Chart Radio Pop-Up. I'll be on Saturday night from 8 p.m. There you go. This part of the show is one long advert for my next show. Forget all the other No, don't forget all the other presenters. Please don't. There's only 2 weeks left of this, of these shenanigans that you've put up with. But yes, I will be back live on Off the Chart Radio Saturday night from 8 p.m. Here's Kaiser Chiefs and Saturday night, and then we'll stop. I promise. I won't egg it out, eke it out. Over egg it. That's the phrase I was looking for. This is a track I've not heard by the Kaiser Chiefs either. I'll line up the next jingle, I think. Ah, hi Ben. Great to have you along. Right, no. This is a behind the scenes of the radio show I'm doing here. So to hear the music, you need to have that open either as well, or instead. I won't be offended if you go. Hopefully that makes sense. From June the 23rd onwards, I'm planning to do some more Twitch stuff. That'll just be on Twitch, and won't be a radio show. But yeah, great to have you along. Cheers for joining me. And really enjoyed your stream the other day, and I'm looking forward actually to following what you're doing a bit more. So for those who don't know, Ben is actually no. Do you know what? I often give promotion to things on my show. Let's do this properly, actually on the radio show. Assuming I can find it. There you go. Oh, I meant to like that page. There you go. I've liked it now. Yeah, I'll give a proper shout out. Actually, that's right. Oh, tell me what a one chip challenge is. I don't know what that means. Are you talking about like literally like the food chip, or is it a Twitch term I haven't familiarised myself with? Because remember, on Twitch, I know nothing. I've been on Twitch for about a week. I was just wondering actually if. Oh, see. Wow. Okay. Very, very spicy. Yeah, Scoville scale. My sister Josie got that right in a. It came up in a pub quiz we were doing online. What is the scale to measure the level of spiciness? I better do my next radio link. Hang on a second. Kaiser Chiefs and Saturday night. Right, okay, I won't do any more Saturdays. So I could have played the Saturdays. Could have, but again, it's not the tenuous album title tour or the tenuous band name tour. It's the tenuous track title tour. So I've got to stick to my own rules, even though I made them up, and I could probably change them at any time if I wanted to. But we're going to play a song now that we actually featured on the show a few weeks ago. It's by Hayley McKay. It's brand new music. I said at the start of the show it wasn't going to be any brand new music. I tell a lie. This is, well, a month old, but it's still brand new compared to most of what I play. So here's Hayley McKay, who I interviewed a few weeks ago as well, when we were still in the thick of the most restrictive lockdowns here in Wales. Anyway, it's easing up a bit now, but she'd just been on a walk and managed to she'd found a bridge that then got closed when she tried to get back, so she ended up having to walk a lot further than she intended in order to get back home that day. But yeah, you can hear that interview if you look back through my Mixcloud shows. So mixcloud.com/offthechartradio is where you can find all of our shows, but I've also reposted mine on mixcloud.com/Jamie Nemeth. So if you want to scroll back through those, it'll be the one that features Hayley McKay. Actually, I can't remember which one it was. Maybe I'll find out during the song and tell you at the end of the song. This is Thinking About Last Night. Oh, that's brilliant to hear, Ben. What I wondered, if you're up for it, and if I can pull it off, if you're on Skype, um, or Zoom, possibly, although that might be finicky. But if you're on Skype, if you fancy joining me on air, you'd be more than welcome to talk about breaking down barriers. And I'm going into it only knowing what I know about it from discovering about it yesterday. Okay, if you email me, jamie@offthechartradio.co.uk with your Skype name, or just add me actually, jamie.nemeth on Skype. So jamie.nemeth, unlike the other social media. Yeah, as I say, I'll be asking you all the questions because I won't know anything about it, other than seeing what's on the page, and it looks like a really great initiative, and I didn't know about it, even though I'm from Swansea, supposedly. Well, I often say I'm from Swansea when it suits me. I'm from Pontardawe, really, but most of my life is in Swansea. It was before lockdown. So. So when did I feature Haley's song? See, when we've only got a pop-up off the Chart Radio website at the moment, which is fine because it's literally just a pop-up site. But what was there before? We had playlists and everything, so I could just look on our own website to work out what I'd played on certain shows. Now I have to be a little bit more investigative and look back through my own feeds and work out when I posted about it. And that's a little bit more rough, shall we say. There you go. 11th of April. Oh, right. I've heard about the Raid Room. Yeah, okay. Oh, there we are. I feel a bit better now then. I'm not completely oblivious to it. Actually, yeah, because I had some stuff that old computers and stuff. Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, if we're both on stream at the same time, that's going to be tricky. Possible. I'm looking into future collaborations with Twitch, but you kind of have to set that bit in advance. It's going to all break if I try and do that now. Especially as I don't know what I'm doing with Twitch at all. So I can guarantee, 100% guarantee, I will fudge it up. So let's not do that. But yeah, it'd be great to have her now in a bit. Hayley McKay and Thinking About Last Night, really enjoy that track. And you can hear the interview that I did with Hayley on the 11th of April show on Mixcloud. So mixcloud.com/Jamie Nemeth. Scroll down to the one that says Off the Chart Radio pop-up, Jamie Nemeth, 11:04:20. Or obviously on the Off the Chart site as well. It'll just be further down because it's further back in time. You can listen to that. And listen again to the track because you'll get to hear the first play as well. But I hope that you will go along to Hayley McKay's website and listen to more of her music. Maybe purchase it if you decide that it's for you. And yeah, really, really enjoyed listening to that again. Very rare, actually, on Off the Chart Radio pop-up that I've played songs twice. But in this case, yeah, I have. It's going to happen then. Producer Mum, hello. Welcome back to Studio 1 from Studio 2.
Hello.
Gosh, Mum, your voice has gone deep.
Hasn't it just?
Yeah, Dad, you don't need to make your voice deeper when I say your voice has gone deep.
Sorry about that.
I don't know who that sounds like. It doesn't sound like either of you. It doesn't even sound like me. It doesn't. It's Josie. You're doing an impression of Josie.
Yeah, I think so.
She's
right.
not amused by that.
I bet. Yeah. Why do you think I said it?
Face like thunder.
Well, if Josie wants to come on air and disprove it by showing what her actual voice sounds like, then all you have to do is put the radio mic up to her.
I did, but she didn't.
Yeah, I know. Mysterious. Yeah, I remember years ago and off the chart when I said, and I meant it. I was just linking things analytically because you know me, I'm over analytical, and sometimes I don't realise quite what I'm saying. Although I'm still not convinced I said anything bad really. But when the Osbournes documentary was on, and it was all of the Osbournes apart from one sister who didn't want to be on the screen. So I likened that to us, and Josie got really offended, and I don't know why. Why? I was just drawing a logical, analytical conclusion. Maybe it's just that she didn't want her family to be compared with the Osbournes. I don't know. I mean, we're not really like the Osbournes, are we?
No, we haven't got the money.
Well, there's that.
She said she can't remember.
Oh, there we are. I've just offended her again. Then it's like
you've done it again.
like a top up, you know.
Oops,
Yeah.
I did it again.
Don't sing on my stream. I've just been talking about this. It's very pressing at the moment because
That was not recognisable.
no, it shouldn't be. No, it's a pressing issue at the moment on Twitch. I'm doing a live stream on Twitch, Periscope, YouTube, and Facebook Live at the moment as a bit of an experiment. But YouTube, if you play, actually no, it's not so much singing, although it does apply to singing potentially. But yeah, there's been content matching on YouTube for ages. There's been content matching on various platforms, you know, to check if you've borrowed tracks or that you shouldn't have or whatever. But it's now catching up to the world of Twitch. And people are getting very scared and panic deleting all of their clips and things. I've had some advantage in that whilst I'm completely new to Twitch, I've done radio for ages and I know the radio rules. So I kind of already decided not to put music on my stream. But apparently, yeah, it does also apply to singing as well. Which
Doesn't it require singing in tune?
yeah, I sang a bit of a song earlier, although I didn't sing it in tune. I think if you don't sing it in tune, you're not really singing the song, surely. You've got to be allowed to say one line from a song. Obviously, if I quoted a whole chorus, then whether I sang it or not, yes, that's replicating a song. But how can you talk about anything if you can't mention a bit of it? It's like trademarks and things. You are allowed to talk about trademarks.
I thought it used to be you could have like a 30-second clip or something.
Oh no, I've only just said that on my stream as well. That's a myth.
Is it?
So even you believe? Well, I believed it actually up until a few years ago. So to be fair, yeah, it is totally a myth. It's never been true. Well, okay, I say never. I think there may be certain particular circumstances where it might be true, but they are so specific that they almost never apply. So no, it's a myth completely that it is safe. That's true at least. It's a myth that it's safe to play 30 seconds of a song under fair use. Total myth.
I know things may have changed because of a certain Australian song.
Oh.
Australian band that played something that a school teacher had recorded,
Oh yeah, that was famous, wasn't it?
and that was only a tiny section of the song, but she played it on a recorder or something
Yeah.
at some point, and then it was played on a similar instrument on the song. So I don't know whether it was because instrumentally it was similar, as well as it being tonally similar. But was it Land Down Under?
Oh, I don't know. It might have been. Yeah, you can't mention that track title. No, but it is silly. There has to be a common sense point reached over this, I think, and that's what one of the streamers I was watching was saying. Look, you know, everybody's worried about getting banned, and I've only just started on the platform, so I don't want to be banned. But of course, I'm already being safe. I'm exempt in some ways because I already went into it with radio experience and doing everything I would normally do for the radio anyway. Which is, you know, whenever I've put clips of my radio show online, I've been very careful that it's only, you know, I might have let the odd jingle through, like when I put the video clip up on my YouTube of how I started with OTC, and I was talking about the guest list that happened in 2008, 2007. So I did play the guest list jingle there because it was relevant to what I was talking about.
So
Wouldn't
what
have made sense.
happens with non-copyrighted traditional music?
That's a weird one because when I put my first track up on my first and only track up on Bandcamp as a bit of an experiment, there you have to put in. I've got it wrong again. It's not the is it the composer? I think that's right. It had a field for composer, and of course I couldn't fill it in because it's traditional. Normally you just type traditional, but it said no. The composer must be a person's name. So I thought,
Anon is the name.
well, I suppose I could have done that. But no, what it says is, and this is really, really bonkers in terms of copyright law and everything, but apparently, because the copyright is in the arrangement of the tune, your arrangement of the tune can be identical to someone else's arrangement. Not, that doesn't apply to all arrangements, by all means. Don't take that from this, please. But because that'll be definitely protected under copyright if you just write out a manuscript from a show from 20 years ago or something, write it out note for note. That's definitely totally wrong. But with traditional tunes, the copyright is with the arrangement. But because the arrangement is of a tune that's so old, all of the arrangements, even if yours is note for note identical to someone else's arrangement, the copyright is in the arrangement. So I had to put down that I'd composed this 400-year-old tune even though I knew I didn't, and that was actually completely fine and the actual recommended thing to do under the rules of copyright. And so I don't understand this. Why have we got such bonkers, complicated rules over copyright in some regards, and then with traditional music, it's just just put yourself down as the composer, that's fine.
Would it be horrendous if something was imposed on traditional music because it's learnt by ear by so many people, and that's how it's survived the centuries. So,
well, yeah, it would be horrendous. If it wasn't that way, I agree. But it's just, to me, it just doesn't make any sense. So I basically had to say, well, I've written this music out, and then I've played the tune off this music that I wrote myself, and therefore I own the copyright to the tune.
Except you don't. It's only to the next person, does it?
Well, yeah, but I own the copyright to
yourself
my playing
playing.
of that arrangement, which I also hold the copyright on.
Including all your death notes.
Yep. Yeah.
And all your out-of-tune strings, you own the copyright to doing all of those mistakes.
I know the death notes are originality from my performance.
Yeah.
My incorrect performance of the written notation, which I own the copyright to.
Not to be duplicated by anybody else, even though nobody else would want to duplicate the death notes, but just in case.
Well, yeah. If we can have copyright on a composition that is entirely silence, then we can do anything, can't we? And believe me, people have tried to. I've been watching YouTube videos of lawsuits that have been taking place for somebody borrowing a tiny bit of a song, and it's just ended up absurdly complicated, where, one act is suing the other for sampling the song, except they didn't sample the song because it was entirely different. And then when it was taken down, they said, well, then what are you suing against? Because it's not there anymore. And then they ended up suing the lawyer who was doing the video about this situation, who definitely was using it under fair use because it was criticism and review. They ended up complaining about his video, even though he was defending them. He wasn't defending them in court. I just mean he was saying, actually, yeah, you guys, you were in the right, totally. And they complained and wanted to take down his video. It's like. And so he was really disheartened after that, because he was just like, well, that's the last time I speak up for anybody then. Because I was actually on your side, guys. And now you're suing me. It didn't come to that in the end. But it was just bonkers. And litigation is bonkers. If you're a fan of sci-fi, there's a brilliant episode on Sliders. Of Sliders, I should say. Well, I suppose it is on Sliders. So Sliders is a show where they go into parallel universes. It's this guy who's a scientist. They say he invents the device, but he invents the device.
Say other sci-fi shows are available.
Well, yeah, but you're allowed to talk about a show. It's fine. I'm not getting sponsored by them.
Okay.
But the scientist invents the device, but he invents it in a parallel universe, throws it through to himself in our universe, as we're meant to believe this, our current universe. And so he throws a dog through, obviously, because that's the first thing you try it on. Makes perfect sense. I know. The dog comes back fine, so he goes through, but then the portal... so because the dog's come back fine, he invites his professor to come over, and his friend, and they all go through. and it's all meant to be. In fact, this is the first episode now, not the episode I was going to talk about. And they all go through the portal into a parallel universe, alternate reality, whatever you want to call it. But then the portal sort of doesn't close immediately; it just drifts out of the house, and accidentally snaps up Rembrandt Brown, played by Cleveland Derricks, and he's just driving along the road, and then goes ah. And ends up driving the car through the portal, and it all goes wrong because, sorry, spoiler alert, but they end up on a world where it's freezing, and they know they're going to die of hypothermia, basically, all of them. Luckily, they weren't killed by the car coming through the portal, which whizzes over their heads, so that was lucky. He's just going, what on earth's going on? And they fire the device to open the portal to get back, but what happened was, in case you're not lost already, when the device was thrown to him, and he says, it's the old trope, isn't it, where the really crucial information's cut off. So he throws the device to his counterpart in our universe and says, but by the way, never... And then the portal closes. And what he told him never to do was to fire the timer, the device, the handheld device that they have, not to fire the timer until the timer had counted down to 0. So, of course, they're all going to die of hypothermia, so they've got no choice. So they fire it. And then instead of getting back to their own universe, they end up going from universe to universe to universe to universe, all very different. All some of them are similar, some of them are different. And one of the universes they end up in is a universe where litigation's gone absolutely mad. Yeah, it's our universe, really. But they end up in this. So they bump into somebody and they just go, "Oh, sorry," and then somebody else, and they huff at them and they go, "They were being funny with me." And then a lawyer comes up and hands them a card. "You'll need this." And walks away. Because litigation's gone so mad that even bumping into somebody's shoulder by accident, you could sue for in that universe. But it was just so, every attention to detail, in other words. It was like, it's scary, it seems unrealistic, but it's actually plausible if things keep going in the direction they're going in. And then one guy tries to go up and get a burger, and they go, "Sorry, have you got your medical card?" "Why do I need my medical card to get a burger?" "Sorry, I'm not serving you a burger unless you've proven on your medical card that we won't be able to harm you by giving you this burger."
Answer me a question.
Yeah. I'm thinking about food because I can smell food.
Yeah. You know the song that I changed the words to Swansea Town on?
Yeah.
Someone videoed me singing that and putting it up on whatever. Would I be sued for that?
Strictly speaking, yes.
Oh.
I mean, it depends. If the artist owns the song and they're happy with you doing it, and it is a folk song, in the folk tradition, that would be a huge compliment. I don't know what the Dubliners think of it, but I imagine that they would think it was really nice.
I think maybe
Generally, people do in the folk world. But if that song is owned by an organisation, then yes, the organisation could technically do that. It depends.
I think maybe with a lot of songs, what we don't realise is the tunes are traditional.
Yeah.
So the words are copyrighted, but not the tunes.
I should also say, to cover us, myself and Dad, you're okay performing it in a music venue because that's covered by the music venue's licence for performance. It's recording it is the issue, so you bring up a valid point. So videoing it is recording it.
Because there was a song that Mary Hopkins sang, and I really loved the song, and I was desperately trying to find out where I could get hold of it. And then I found out, well, she had combined two things. She'd combined words from a poem, and she'd combined them with a traditional tune. And the poem was a non, and the tune was traditional. So she brought it out as her song, but she did explain, when I finally found the track, that it was it was her combination, but they were both, you could repeat them. So it was okay for anyone else to use the tune, I think was what the implication was.
Yeah, and of course one of her most famous songs, I dare say her most famous, I shouldn't... again, we're talking about album tracks that you don't get to hear. Everybody knows Those Were the Days. Some beautiful, beautiful songs by Mary Hopkin. recently as well, because she's been bringing out new material. It was originally that she was just re-releasing unheard material from live shows. But now, yeah, in the last few years, she has been putting together new material that you can buy now. But yeah, the most famous song is actually a Russian folk tune.
Yeah, I think she's tried to do that. She's tried, at least in the early days. I think that's what she was doing. She was a folk singer,
Mm.
and so she was trying to keep folk music going. And I think that's what's happened. I'm not. I think there are a few tunes with the Dubliners that are traditional tunes that they put words to, because there are very similar tunes sung by other bands.
Mm.
So I'm not certain.
What is Dad doing in the background? Is he folding up a deck chair or
No.
pulling out some chopsticks? I can't decide.
The thing that always gets to us, of course, is when we hear the Appalachian and the bluegrass tunes, where you hear little smidgens of tunes that you think you know, and you're going along, and then they change. So they've combined tunes along the way
Mm.
and created their own tradition.
You're not going to tell me what Dad's up to, are you?
No.
It's going to be a mystery, an annoying mystery now.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was slapping my thigh.
No, you weren't. That's a completely different sound, and you know it.
What, that?
That's what he was doing.
Well, why, though? Why in the middle of Mum talking on the show?
Russian folk songs.
Oh, well, then if you'd explained it, it would have been relevant. But I just thought you had, I don't know, that you'd got some stuff out of the shed that you've been getting into now that we've got a shed outside that we helped put up. I helped put up.
You got a boast, haven't you?
Last weekend, yeah. But that means that we've been able to sort stuff out, and Dad's been in his woodworking shed for the first time in years. So I thought you'd been doing a bit of cheeky woodworking while listening to the show. I mean, people knit when they listen to a concert, so you could
I can really carve when no.
you could carve while listening to Doctor Hook.
No, never get distracted from Dr. Hook. It's
No,
too
that's
good.
true. Have you heard of a song called "Sharing the Night Together," which is exactly what we're doing now? What was that? Uh-oh. Dad's just fallen. No, he hasn't really.
No, not this time.
All right. So we're going to have Dr. Hook now, carrying on the night theme as we go into the night with strange sound effects coming from Studio 2. Dr. Hook and "Sharing the Night Together." And then we've nearly finished. Haven't heard this song before either. Yeah, I was gonna try. Is that Ben back now? I'm actually going off air at 10 o'clock. So what I could do is if I stop the radio show but keep this stream rolling, I can then use the recording and put it on Saturday's show. It'll still be on the stream as well. You can, it'll be a separate entity on Twitch. That's up to you. Or I can get you back onto Saturday's show if you're up for that. Because I've been talking about Twitch on the radio show a fair bit, just because I'm getting into it. I'm new to it all. And I'm intrigued. I finally let my intrigue get to the point where it tipped me over the threshold. And I've been really enjoying it. And it is like, when I used to be on internet chat all the time, decades ago. Yeah, decades? Decades plural. But, a decade ago. ICQ, all those days. Remember? ICQ, MSN Messenger. Actually, this webcam that I'm using now is a bit of a gem. Managed to get it for just over £20. Not much over. And it's brilliant. But there were others that were being advertised at the same time, which you can find out about on my YouTube video as well. YouTube link is below on Twitch if you're watching on Twitch. And it's what have I called it? Getting getting a webcam for streaming and vlogging or something. I've called the video, and I basically was finding. I better change over the song. I was finding cameras advertised now in 2020 that were saying they were good for MSN Messenger. And I was like, no. They're not going to be good for MSN Messenger unless they come with a free time machine with every purchase. What? Why? It was the whole debacle about cameras that were advertising themselves as HD webcams, and then you'd go into the resolution, it'd be 640 by 480 pixels, which is 480p in HD resolution terms. I mean, yeah, it's higher than the lowest resolution in YouTube, which would be 360p, if I remember. Maybe 240p, I don't know. But yeah, it's far off anything resembling HD. HD starts at 720p. Full HD is 1080p, and they were advertising full HD 640 by 480 pixels. It's VGA resolution. Shocking. And yeah, good for MSN Messenger, which shut down in 2004? No, it can't be. I was still using it in my student radio days. 2009, maybe? 2010? I can't remember. But it's gone for a long time. So using it in current advertising just tells me, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about, do you? Or you've copied and pasted this advert for far too long. Needs to be updated. There we are. Just check to make sure that Ben's message doesn't end up spam by accident. Nope. Okay. Might have to leave it for this week then. This show. Okay, gonna introduce and then do you want to go on the mics to finish off the show? And it is time for me to move ahead right now. Because that's it. That's the end of the show for tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in and joining me on this tenuous track title tour. And we are breaking the tenuous track title tour with colour. So you've got a hint about what the next song is going to start with. I'm going to use the word colour and some lovely Cara Dillon, who I saw on, we were watching. It was the other festival, wasn't it? It was Folk on Foot Festival, except it was a festival at home because of the lockdown, and just really great. Got the heads up from Alex from Isambard's Wheel about the first festival, and then they did a second festival, and you can watch both of them on YouTube as well. So Folk on Foot. Search for that, and Cara Dillon was on there, and I've seen her on the album cover, but the album cover's sort of abstract art and stuff, so I didn't recognise her, and then it's only when she started singing I thought, oh my gosh, I recognise that voice. I'm getting to see Cara Dillon live! Wow! Yeah, so that's going to be at the start of my next show on Saturday at 8 o'clock. But before then, of course, 9 a.m. tomorrow, you can catch the Sam and Joe morning show. And then if you stay tuned through to, well, okay, you might have other things to do between 10 o'clock and 6 o'clock. But at 6 o'clock, we will have Lee Last back. And then Sam and Joe back. So it's Sam and Joe Sandwich tomorrow. They're going to be back on air from 8 p.m. So, yeah, that should be fun. As I say, I'll be back on Saturday. Any final words, producer Mum and Dad?
Oh, yeah, I just looked up the particular song,
Yeah.
and it's been recorded by a number of people, apparently.
Oh, yeah, it's a traditional song. So, yeah, it will be. It's, but Cara Dillon's done it in a uniquely ethereal, beautiful style. I'm not saying the others aren't beautiful too. I just mean it's like, I likened her the other day to Hayley Westenra. Completely different genres, but when I first heard Hayley Westenra live, I couldn't believe what I was hearing because I thought that voice was, that voice was so pure, and coincidentally her album was called Pure. But her voice was so pure, it was almost unbelievably pure, beautiful. But it's just like, no, surely that can't be real. That's been added in afterwards. It didn't sound processed. It just sounded too pure to be real. And then you hear her sing live, and it's just like, oh my gosh, her voice is just like that. Just naturally amazing like that. Cara Dillon the same. Yeah, okay, as we commented, watching her live gig, yes, there's a bit of reverb on there, which adds to the, you're allowed a bit of reverb. We've had a bit of reverb at gigs as the occasional domestics as well. It's allowed. A little bit of subtle reverb. That's that, if I'm using technical terms, that's that slight echo that you get. But echo is distinct, you see. So I'll have music techies shouting at me for trying to compare echo and reverb. And echo is that. It's a distinct sound. Acted so brilliantly by myself there. But a reverb is more of a... I haven't got a button on my desk, unfortunately, that'll let me do that. But it's more of a decaying sound, so like a church sound. If you shout in a church and it takes a long time to decay, but it's not a distinct echo, as in you can't hear it back as a distinct sound. It's just like a sort of, well, it's a reverberation. That's where reverb comes from. It's just a sound, a nondescript sound, and a tone normally as well. So if you speak, you might hear the pitch of the notes you were saying sort of bouncing around the room, rattling around the room, but it won't be a distinct word anymore. Whereas an echo can be. I remember when we had that orchestra concert in Margam Orangery, and Margam Orangery has got a glass wall just behind where we're playing, and just behind where the audience is sitting as well. So we were playing the William Tell overture, and normally you don't hear the echo so distinctly. But with William Tell, it was quite... I can't sing it, can I?
No, you can't sing it.
Oh, no, it's classical. It's fine.
No,
classical's not covered.
Isn't it?
No. If it's old, and, it's fine. But you basically...
I thought the way you sing things, you wouldn't recognise it.
Oh, it'll be rubbish. But you know the theme. Everybody knows the theme, even if they're going, William Tell? No, I don't know it. Yes, you do. Dun, 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 dun. Except in Markham Orangery, it was dun, 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 dun. It's just like, what is going on? Never happens with any other piece, but with that one, it was just like, I think this is something that obviously doesn't suit this particular venue.
Nobody does as good a version as Pat Smith on the Spoons.
Oh gosh, that's fantastic. Yes, Pat Smith. Dame Patty Smith, EPNS, as she calls herself when she's doing the Spoons Workshop. And literally, it is a Spoons Workshop, as in 2 spoons, back to back, in your finger. Yeah, and she says, right, up high, it's fantastic if you ever get to see that. So yeah, that's it from me, and that's it from producer Mum and Dad.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night, Stacey.
And catch you all on Saturday. A quick hello to Ogujan12, who just tuned in just to catch me saying bye. But you can listen to the whole show again on Mixcloud. It'll take me a little bit of time to upload, but mixcloud.com/offthechartradio to hear previous shows from the station. And I will leave you for now. Good night. Except that's when I entered the audio stream. I'm still here on the video stream. So yeah, cheers for tuning in. I'm sorry that it's just to hear me say that I'm actually finishing, but I will be back on Twitch and on the radio show on Saturday. So yeah, you can catch me then, and yeah, that's it from me. I'm just checking my email to check because I was possibly gonna talk to Ben and do a recorded interview, but it would have been live on the stream. But I think Ben, who you've seen on here as Barrier Breaker 20. So I can recommend Barrier Breaker 20. It's an initiative based in Swansea called Breaking Down Barriers, where they're using virtual reality to as an innovative way to help people through various things, including helping towards positive mental health, as I understand it from only having discovered it yesterday. But it looks like a really, really good initiative, and Ben seems like a top guy. That I've seen him on seen him on the stream the other day. But yeah, what I will do actually before I go, can I do like one of those raid things? That'd be quite fun. Or a raid with one person. But yeah, every viewer counts. So I'll just have a. I can hear myself back now. No, I don't hear myself back. Stop. Let's see who's on. Who needs an extra viewer? Who needs an extra viewer? You might actually, if I do this right, you might actually. I don't know. I don't even know how to do this. I'm having to now Google WikiHow how to raid on Twitch. I apologise if it takes me so long that you get fed up of waiting for me to do this. Yeah, I know what it is. I just don't know how to do it from here. Oh no, that's an advert. Right. So if I go to my channel, is that how I do it? Look at me showing how it. I've literally only been on Twitch a week, right? And I've already started streaming from the get-go. Admittedly, it's just the restream of the radio show right now, but I am planning on doing a lot more within the realms of it still being a hobby, because it can't take away from my day job. My brain would melt, and yeah, I look back on my old schedules, and I wonder how on earth I managed so many shows whilst also doing so many gigs. All right, so there's a big button on here, raid channel. Let's give I bought surprise raid then. So I've been watching this channel for a little while, and he's really good to chat to. So I will do this raid thing, and I invite you. You don't have to, but I invite you to give I bought your support. I think what happens is. Yeah, raid now. Okay, but there we are. And I think that might mean I've jettisoned my viewer anyway. So I'll say goodnight just because I'm finishing off the stream anyway. I'm gonna have my food. Thank you for joining me. Assuming that I haven't jettisoned you. Let's have a look. I honestly don't know if that's worked. Yeah. Okay. So cheers for everything, and